Welcome to Every Day is Macaroni. I'm Joy Alfred Brand.
And I'm Juliette Connell. And we're the hosts of Everyday Macaroni, the podcast.
This podcast is a look at the lighter side of life, where we talk about our adventures as a modern blended family.
So sit back, relax,
and prepare to have your funny bone tickled. Welcome to our holiday special. This episode is the first in our new series of podcast episodes. We're using a new format, and we'll be posting a new 20 to 30 minute episode twice a month from now on. Since this is a holiday special, it's a little over an hour long. I thought that would be a nice way to kick things off here at Everyday Macaroni, the podcast. We're also having some guests join us from time to time as we talk about our fun family adventures. On today's episode, we're joined by our good friend Susie, who has some funny stories to share with us. And I'm so happy she joined us for this holiday chat and shared her research on our topic. Which reminds me, we'd like to give a shout out to culturetrip.com for all the interesting info about the Caganer and Cagatillo. Last but not least, keep an eye out for our website, everydaymacaroni.com, coming soon to the internet near you. So, let's listen in on our discussion about holiday traditions from around the world, including the pooping log. We begin with a little song from Lita. And as she's singing, this is where Ron's like, "Oh, please keep singing."
I know, you have
what
such
is
a
she
beautiful
singing?
voice.
Translate, please.
It's a song that kids sang on Christmas Eve.
There it is.
What's my mother going to give me? She's going to give me compote. It's like, singing about the things that happen.
Is that like fruit cake?
No, compota is fruit. It's like
like baked
and
fruit,
pears
but
that are
like,
baked or poached, and then they're in a warm soup.
Pretty much.
Okay, that sounds bad, doesn't it?
No,
So
but they're like
like-
stewed. They're like stewed fruit.
Right.
Stewed prunes.
Basically stewed prunes. That's right.
In a warm water.
I think I want fruit cake.
Compote. No, I guess.
Yeah.
Isn't it
You
called
should come for
compote
Christmas.
in
Ron's making a
English?
Christmas pudding that has fruit in it. It's in the refrigerator right now. You're welcome.
It takes like 6
Ooh,
weeks
is it
to make.
marinating?
It's marinating, all right.
Yeah.
Or molding, one or the other. We're not sure.
That's like that friendship bread.
What's the cabbage that you let sit for a while that's really good for you?
That's
Kimchi.
Kimchi. So
That's
his
good
is
for you.
like
It's fermented. It's good for you.
fermented fruit. Is
No.
that what Ron's
No.
doing?
No. Okay, so in England, it is an actual Christmas pudding cake that is made ahead of time, and they steam it on Christmas Day, like in Charles Dickens' Christmas Carol, right? They talk about, "Oh, Peter, listen to the pudding hiss and steam on the fire. It sounds like a snake." They're talking about she is steaming the Christmas pudding, his mother. What Ron is making, well, he's already made it. It's in the refrigerator. It's traditional British Christmas pudding. And he's made it once before, and it turned out pretty good. And it has alcohol in it. I can't remember if it's brandy or rum or whiskey or what's in it, but then you light it on fire, and typically you would put a stake of holly in it, and then you would serve it with some cream on the side.
Is the liquor the
Sounds
only way
yummy.
you can get to eat it? Is that it? It's the way you choke it down.
No, when he made it before, and it was pretty good.
Yeah.
So, but it has raisins and cherries and figs, I think.
Would it
and
look like
I think
a
it's figgy
bread
pudding,
pudding?
right?
Like a
No, bread pudding. So bread pudding is like pieces of bread in a custard, and then you would put like a brandy sauce or whatever on top of it. No, this is like a solid kind of fruitcakey type thing.
Is it hard and dry like a fruitcake?
No,
No,
don't you remember?
no,
You were
you're
here.
gonna light it on fire.
Yeah.
It's not gonna be hard and dry.
No.
Not with all the
Exactly
liquor
right.
you're pouring on that.
Exactly right. But this is a good segue into Christmas traditions, because that's sort of what we're talking about tonight. You have a different perspective on Christmas than the two of us have, because we were basically born and raised in Middle America. Your parents are from Spain, and you were raised on the East Coast. So you have kind of a layered background as far as Christmas is concerned.
Yeah. I think our Christmases were very blended. And by that, I mean the European Christmas, Spanish heritage kind of Christmas. And then the American Christmas that I learned on the TV from Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer or friends of ours or whatever. So it's kind of that in between. My parents learning about American Christmas, but still holding true to their Christmas. And then being in the United States at a time where it wasn't fashionable to continue your traditions because you're really not in your country anymore.
Right.
You know, so
you're now American.
70s,
so you need to
Yes.
you need to have American traditions, things like that.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
You were very thankful for being here, very thankful for the opportunity.
Speak English, don't speak Spanish, whatever. Yeah.
Right. Right. So they took on the things that they saw on TV and the things that we brought home from school. So sometimes you think back and it was very exaggerated because my brothers and my view of Christmas that I learned from certain families at school versus what my parents were hearing. And my parents really didn't watch a ton of TV. They went to work and came home. And that was pretty much the extent of their social lives.
That's funny because Ron does say that your dad spent a lot of time in his recliner with the TV remote in his hand.
Yeah. I mean,
And he would fall asleep and he'd be like, and Ron would try to change his channel. And your dad would be like, no, I'm watching that.
I know.
And wake up just in time to say, no, I'm watching that.
it is true. It's true. Yeah. Eventually that's kind of where he
Wound
was.
up.
Yeah. Where he wound up. When we were still living in Paterson, New Jersey, and he worked the night shift, my mom worked the day shift. This way, there was always someone in the house with us. That was a little different. And of course, my grandparents lived upstairs because we lived in a 3-family home. So it was my grandparents, then it was us, and then it was my uncle with my cousin and...
Your Uncle Roman?
Uh-huh, yep. He was living there with Amy and Pat, of course.
Okay.
And that was when we were much younger. We had just moved
But
back
you have a great
from-
Uncle Roman too, but he wasn't there.
He was around the block.
Okay.
Yeah,
It's close
because we
by.
could walk to
Very
his
close by.
house. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so it was a little bit more of an exaggerated kind of Christmas, and maybe Christmases were a little more exaggerated then. I don't know. I mean, I know I've heard both your stories as well.
I got
Well,
distracted.
Julie was talking about how her Christmases were blended as far as Spanish traditions versus your American traditions. So I know you said something about the shoes, leaving the shoes out
okay,
and
yeah.
what they were
yeah.
for. So that was probably more of a Spanish tradition. Did you notice as a child, like, oh, this is different? I don't have friends that do this.
Oh, yeah. I want to say that I didn't do that always. We didn't always do that with the shoes. So my parents were very, very careful what sort of traditions they allowed in the house, especially when we were really, really young. My parents only spoke to each other in Spanish. They never spoke to us in Spanish. The only Spanish that we were able to speak in the house was to my grandparents, because they only spoke Spanish.
They didn't speak English at all, almost.
Right. They didn't want us to struggle in school. So the more English...
Survival's the name of the game. Yep.
Right.
And
The more
surviving and
English
excelling. Yes.
that you could do in the house, the better, because then we didn't need extra help in school, that sort of thing. That's pretty much what you did. It went to the point where my dad even changed his last name. I mean, we dropped the last name so that he could at least apply for a job and get an interview. It was more assimilation, big on that. Now, as we grew older and we had friends and they were more comfortable that we were able to survive and able to thrive in school, that's when we started hearing a lot more stories. This is what I did when I was little and so on and so forth. So somewhere around maybe late elementary, that's when my mom said, oh, you know what we should do? We should put some shoes outside. So we would put shoes outside our front door because in Spain...
Like outside of the house?
Yeah. In Spain, they don't do Santa like we do it here.
Yeah. So, because I want to make sure I'm clear on this. Santa Claus
Well, Santa Claus is real. It's
is an
just,
American thing, though, largely. It's not, the rest of the world doesn't really
Right. I think he goes by...
recognize Santa Claus as Santa Claus per se.
Right. He goes by a different name in Europe, and that would be St. Nicholas. And St. Nicholas was a saint, and he was real. If you lived in Belgium and Germany and those areas, even maybe France, I'm not 100% sure on
Father
that one.
Christmas in some areas, right? Père
Yeah.
Noel, that kind of thing.
Right. And he was your older traditional Santa coming and giving treats to kids and coal to those who, deserve that too.
Stinkers.
But a lot of the world still is attached to, it's the reason for the season, right? It's the nativity set.
Well, it's a very religious thing too. Yes, the
Right.
nativity set, yes.
So Spain holds true to the three kings, the Magi, bringing gifts to the baby Jesus. And that's how they celebrate Christmas. So they don't actually celebrate on Christmas Day. The big deal is Christmas Eve. And I think if you go to Italy, it's the Feast of the Six Fishes, is it?
I think you're right.
I think that's what
Yeah.
it is.
I've never heard of that before.
And that's why you eat a lot of seafood on Christmas Eve. And the same at my house. It's more celebrated. Christmas Eve is a little bit more celebrated than Christmas Day.
That's true. You always dress up for Christmas Eve. I know because I got caught in that the first year when I came, and I was wearing like jeans and a top, and everyone was wearing satin skirts and ties, and I really felt underdressed. No one told me.
Ron didn't tell you?
No, Ron didn't tell me. Are you kidding?
Well, and that for us, it's because we're always going to Christmas Mass, right? Now, real Christmas Mass is like
when have you
midnight
gone to
Mass.
Christmas Mass since I've known you? Maybe once or twice.
No, we used to go when the girls were little because they were even in the chorus. Christmas whatever it's called. We did several times, and when the girls were little, they used to sing at church and whatnot. It got very hard at one point because what happens is you're celebrating Christmas Eve, right? And you've got all these people coming to your house, but you're at church till 6:00 at night. So someone always has to stay behind
To cook and
start
whatnot.
cooking and preparing and whatnot. So the meal on Christmas Eve for us was never this. I mean, it was big, but it wasn't like turkey and all this. It's small appetizers and fish platters and cocktails and things like that. Things that can be made and not necessarily all coming out at the oven at the same time. And we were all dressed up because we were all just coming home from church. Hence the
They were all
nicely
dressed up so they could point it out to Joy. You're not dressed up.
heathen.
You're a heathen.
So that was just one of the traditions that we had. And
Okay, and so at some point you started putting your shoes outside.
right. So we would put our shoes outside because, of course, Spain does the three kings or the Magi. So this way, when the Magi get to your house, they know how many children are living in the house, and the kids would fill their shoes with like oatmeal and carrots and things so that when the Magi get there, they are eating from the shoes, and then they come in and just like Santa would here, put some presents in the house, and voila. That was Christmas.
So it wasn't Santa that left you the gifts.
No.
It were the three wise men or the Magi or the three kings.
Yep. That was kind of a novelty because at that point you're in 5th grade or wherever, 4th grade. So Santa, you're comfortable with Santa. We know what Santa is. And then my mom tells the story and it was just like, wow, 3 kings. This is so great. I never even thought of that. So it was kind of like a eye-opening sort of thing that they slowly integrated certain cultural aspects of Christmas and traditions that we really weren't familiar with because they kind of dropped it when they got here. It was like, all right, we're all American.
But I do think it's kind of funny that you're talking about the Magi eating out of the shoes.
No, the Magi's aren't eating out of the shoes. Their camels are.
Okay, well, you didn't say that specifically. Okay, so you put stuff in your shoes so their camels have something to eat, right?
Okay,
Right. So-
I need to know, what did your mom give you to put in the shoes?
It was carrots and like hay, grass, and things like that. We
Something
didn't have
easily
hay.
cleaned out. Because did you actually continue to wear the shoes?
Yes,
Okay.
we did.
All right. Well, I mean, not for nothing, but me growing up, they'd be like, don't put anything in that shoe, like milk, that's going to damage it because you're going to have to wear it to school on Monday, right?
No, it was just like lettuce or grass that we went out there, picked it and threw it in there, and some carrots, just to keep the camels occupied while the wise men went inside and
bringing your gifts.
Yeah, that was it.
Okay, so it was the wise men that were bringing the gifts, and the camels were eating.
Yeah.
No Santa Claus anywhere.
No Santa Claus.
Okay.
No. But in Spain.
In Spain.
Now, in my house, for several different years, we had the wise men and Santa, which was a bonus.
Well, for all those kids whose parents are, one parent is Jewish and the other parent is not, and they have Hanukkah, or a Hanukkah bush, as my friend
right.
Maureen would call her Christmas tree. It's a Hanukkah bush. So you have Christmas and you have Hanukkah. So you had Santa, and you also had the Magi and the shoes.
Right. That only went on for a little while because you don't believe in Santa for all that long. And the Magi, obviously, that loses its...
Wait a second here. I was trying to avoid the whole not believing in Santa for all that long. But now that you bring that up...
Yes, Joy.
Maybe we skip that and talk about that later.
No, Joy.
Yeah.
Go on.
Well, your parents let you believe in Santa Claus, right?
Yeah, they would have let me believe it till I was in high school.
And you too, right, Susie?
Oh, absolutely.
You had some experience with that and your whole family
I
totally buying into that.
Oh, yes. And I had older brothers. So, of course, by the time memories that I had, they were old enough that they no longer believed in Santa, but I still did. So they always played along and had a lot of fun with it. And with me, too, is playing along with Santa being there, when Santa's coming, and all of those things. So, yeah, I had good memories of Santa.
You have to tell that story that you were telling us earlier about your mom and the Sprite.
Well, on Christmas Eve, our tradition was always to go to my dad's mom's house, and we would go and visit with that side of the family and come home that evening. And, mom and dad were tired. They're always like, come on, go to bed, hurry up, go to bed, Christmas tomorrow morning. If you don't go to bed, Santa's not coming. That's all what I remember. And I'm like, Mom, we got to leave Santa some cookies and milk. We got to leave something out. And I can remember her now knowing as an adult what I'm sure she was feeling. I'm sure they probably had
bed.
Yeah, she wanted us to go to bed. I'm sure they'd had a few glasses of wine at Christmas Eve, and she's like, okay, yeah. And she's looking through the fridge and everything, and she turns around to me and she goes, honey, I tell you what we're going to leave him. We're going to leave him this Sprite and some club crackers and cheese. And I'm looking at her like, yeah. And she goes, because guess what? Every house he goes to, he's getting cookies and milk. Don't you think he's probably tired of cookies and milk? And I'm like totally bought in. I'm like, yeah.
What a great idea.
I said, that's awesome.
Santa's going to love us even more.
And so she goes, here, we'll put it out for him. Like I said earlier, paper plate, no Linux in our house. Your paper plate, I can see those cheese and crackers and that Sprite sitting right there. And I went to bed totally satisfied, happy, because my mom sold it. It was great.
What a great memory, though.
It is. It really is a good memory.
Yeah. Well, I don't have a memory like that. And
No,
the
Joy,
reason...
because why? Why, Joy?
The reason I don't have a memory like that is because my dad insisted that there was... And again, if you have young ones in the car, please cover their ears. My dad insisted that there was no such thing as Santa.
Why, Joy? Why did he insist?
Well, Jesus is the reason for the season. And I don't deny that. I get it. But there was no wiggle room for the delight of a child. There was no opportunity for a child to enjoy
believing,
just
all that
fantasy and imagination or whatever. Oh, no. We were not allowed to believe in Santa Claus when I was a kid. And not only were we not allowed to believe in Santa Claus, Dad made such a stink about it that for me, it was such a big deal that there was no such thing as Santa Claus, and all the other kids were stupid and believed in Santa. And so I went to school.
What? How old were you?
I was probably
kindergarten, first grade. Little, very, very young. And I went to school and I started telling all the other stupid kids at school, hey, dummies, you believe in Santa? There's no such thing as Santa. My dad told me, and I believe him because he's right. And it was such a big deal. I guess it started such an outcry amongst the kindergartners that my teacher called my mother and said, your daughter is here telling everybody there's no such thing as Santa, and that's not a good thing. And my mother got so mad. I got in trouble, and I'm pretty sure Dad got in trouble too. But I have not so fond memories of coming home and being told, I can't believe you went to school and told people that. And in my mind, I was thinking, well, I have to correct all those dummies. They need to know.
Public service.
Right. I am doing a public service. I want all of these dummies to know, hey, you are being duped. You need to be corrected. You need to know the truth because the truth is out there.
Oh my gosh.
Mm-hmm.
The truth will set you free.
The truth will set you free.
Is that what you're going to stand on?
Well, what with being an officer of the court, I think that's important.
Oh boy.
Well, I'm just saying. But it was very clear to me early on that Christmas was a very religious holiday and that I was there in church to celebrate the birth of Jesus and to enjoy my orange and my walnut.
Yeah, why don't you tell us about those sweet little gifts?
Well, I think you can explain it a little bit better than me.
Well, we did have a great conversation tonight at the table with your wonderful taco dinner.
You're welcome.
It was great. But Christmas traditions, I think it's great. You know, we all have different memories and good ones, bad ones, how we remember growing up and celebrating Christmas and that whole
You and I are from not too far apart.
Right. You're from Ohio and I'm from Western Kentucky, you know, right in that Illinois, Indiana, that area. And you and I, which Julie found this very funny, is that Christmas, we can remember you received an orange, maybe a piece of peppermint. We would have
I would get candy.
Yeah,
a little bit
some
candy,
type
like
of
hard
candy.
candy.
Yes, it was hard, like the traditional Christmas hard candy that you see. And then nuts, but they were not nuts that were cracked. They were nuts, whole nuts, like a walnut, that you had to be able to crack it and pick out the nut. And I vividly remember that, getting those bags, and that was so exciting to get that fruit and the nuts because that was just Christmas to you. That was a tradition. And I think looking back in the areas that we grew up in, you didn't have fresh fruit in the winter. Did have some, but that was, citrus was really a big deal.
Well, you're a little bit older than me, a little bit, but it was a big deal for me. I remember getting the fruit. I remember getting specifically a walnut and a Brazil nut.
I'm just totally floored. I really am, because I really thought that I knew most Christmases. The fact that the two of you grew up in two different states
and different times too, because I am older than Joy.
Not much.
But and you're talking about getting oranges and
nuts
and candy in their shell and candy. Totally,
you had to
throws
crack
me
the nut
because
yourself. Yeah,
I feel like I went back in time until like the 1800s. I'm like, does this actually go on? I honestly feel like, I don't know, like I came into this thinking, yeah, my parents were immigrants and they didn't have a lot of money, and I got 2 presents under the tree, but I'm like, dang, if I got any walnuts in my stocking with an orange in there.
Well, I don't think I had a stocking. Did you?
No, we didn't.
What?
No, we had no stockings. No.
You guys are blowing my mind.
No, we didn't have stockings. And I think
no shoes by the door?
No.
Well, no, absolutely not. No. Those would be considered out there traditions that no, we don't do that. Here's your present. Here's your walnut and your orange. Now go be happy. And socks and underwear.
Yes, you always received things that you needed, things that were very practical, a coat, socks, underwear, clothing. For my brothers, it may be like new hunting, like boots they would wear outside to hunt, those things. Now, I don't know. I can't really remember if my brothers being older. I'm sure they got gifts that they enjoyed, but I can remember you always got it, or I did. You would get a gift that was fun. I do remember, getting a Barbie or getting something like that.
But it was only like one thing.
Right. You didn't, not like other people. We didn't get multiple toys or things like that.
Right.
It was usually just things that you needed, and then you did get that one thing.
Maybe a new dress or something like that, a new Sunday dress, some kind of, because kids, they grow, so they need to have
pajamas. I remember getting
Didn't you say toothbrush too?
Yeah.
I never got a toothbrush.
I know we did get sometimes. When my mother decided, I don't know what it was about stockings. Like, we didn't grow up with like, oh, let's go look and see what's in your stocking at all. Because I'm sure my mother, the one that gave Sprite and crackers and cheese, it was very practical. Okay, your gift's wrapped up under the tree. Why do I need to put something in a stocking? But I do remember that, I don't know, she was also kind of funny about like, oh, let's do something new or different. Maybe she bought new stockings or probably made new stockings. I don't know. But had decorative stockings one year. And that was when we got the toothbrush and the things, because then not only did you get underwear that was wrapped, you also got other necessities put in your stocking.
Yes, right. My parents divorced when I was 8. After that, Christmas changed a fair amount. After that, Christmas became a much leaner affair in many ways.
But you did join the 20th century then at that point, didn't you?
Well, we got a TV. Woo, and it was color.
Wow.
And I got a stocking. My oldest sister made it for me, and they put stuff in it. It was mostly candy and things like that, but not oranges and nuts. It was like M&Ms and that kind of thing. And then as I got older, because I'm the youngest, as the older kids left the house and it was just my mom and I, Mom would put things in it like nail polish and stuff like that kind of thing. It kind of evolved over time. But at that point, when I was just coming into double digits, like 10 or whatever, that's when I started getting that kind of thing for Christmas. But I would still get utilitarian things like shoes and jeans and stuff like that.
So you growing up, right, you're one of 4, right? Susie, you had 2 brothers, right? And I just had the one brother. And
my little Ron.
Now, I know I celebrated, my mom's family is very, very close. So she's one of 5. And out of the 5, 4 of them were here in the United States. So out of the 4 that were here in the United States, it was a total of 5 cousins. So I know that we would celebrate Christmas Eve at our house. Every one of those cousins would come to our house. My aunts and uncles would come to our house. We would celebrate Christmas Eve. Then the following day, we would travel 2 hours to Long Island to go see my aunt. And the same people that were just at my house the day before are now in Long Island celebrating over at my aunt's house. And we were exchanging gifts and whatnot.
And of course, Santa followed you around.
Oh, yeah. All the aunts, all of them would say, Santa knows you're going over to Aunt Peppy's house. She says, so you're going to have something here. And we would get there, and somehow we were always surprised that Santa really actually knew that we were going to my Aunt Peppy's house. So he left us a gift there, too.
Oh, man.
Only because
you're so lucky.
We had to leave our gifts at our house because we weren't allowed to bring them.
What?
Right? No, because it was Legos or it was something with parts, and you weren't going to take it over there and then lose the parts over there, and then what? They're 2 hours away. We're not going back to get them.
Oh, my God. That's terrible.
So
what torture.
I know.
Here you have this brand new thing because you were allowed to open a gift on Christmas Eve.
We were allowed to open one gift on Christmas Eve.
And you couldn't take it with you.
No. And then Christmas Day in the morning.
I think your parents hated you.
We would open up the other 1 or 2 gifts that we had under the tree. And then it was, all right, hurry up, let's get dressed. We got to travel now all the way to Long Island, 2 hours away, and go to my Aunt Pepe's house where all of my cousins were going to be over there. And each one of us, guess what? Oh my gosh, Santa brought something to my house too. My cousin Amy was there too. She's like, yeah, they left your presents at my house. I guess they must have known that we were going over here. So we brought ours here too. And somehow it all worked. So we really celebrated with a lot of kids, a lot of family. We're always at our parties. And as a matter of fact, well, I don't know if it was more so New Year's Eve when we would celebrate and we would go to New York. Then it was extended families were invited too. So it was not just my mom's sisters and brother. It was now my uncle's mother and father. It was their kids. It was their nieces and nephews. I mean, we would get together, and at one point, you think back and you're like, wow, the houses were half the size as they are now. And we had triple the amount of people.
And you're crammed in there.
We're crammed in there. We're shoving grapes in our faces, 12 grapes.
Hey, that's another thing. Oh, but that's a New Year's tradition.
Yeah, that's a New Year's
Okay, we talk
tradition.
about that later. Okay.
But it was all about gathering and family and everyone getting along and everyone poking fun at each other and laughing and all this stuff. But the two of you were very different from that, right? I mean,
Not everybody got along.
but even the two of you were, I mean, I know you guys share the whole orange and walnut thing.
And hard candy. Hard candy
And
Christmas.
hard candy.
Absolutely.
Hard candy Christmas.
Right. But although you were both raised with...
I don't know. Were you raised Baptist? How were you raised?
Yeah, First Christian, same thing.
So yeah. Protestant. Yeah.
Okay. And that you all have in common, right? We were Catholic, so...
I withhold comment.
Zip it.
and you didn't have a ton of money. Either one.
Oh,
of
we
you,
didn't
right?
have any money. I think of all three families represented here, we had the least.
Probably.
But I think for the two of you, that's probably where the similarities now are done.
I think that, and you also look at geography. I also think about the area you grew up in, and definitely where I was. Like, we go back to talking about like the produce and the even candy. Thinking about candy in the stocking, like where I was. I mean, we had an IGA that was independently owned, very small, and then another independently owned grocery store. So that was all we had. I mean, you had a locally owned drugstore, but you didn't have like lots of places to shop. You didn't have like Walmart, not until I was in high school. Yeah. So you didn't have, we would have to drive like over 50 miles to get to a Sears or get to a place to where you bought. So I think a lot of that had to do with things that you got, like the little things.
Now, isn't that funny? Because I have to say, we didn't grow up with a lot of money either. I mean, not at all. My parents both had to work. They were both out and about because they had to work. But the funny thing is now that I'm seeing it, right, it's geography. So we grew up in New Jersey, New York area where everything was very close. We had a ton of stuff at our disposal. Although our money was tight, we still had options. Right. We had places to go. Whereas the two of you, very rural.
No. I was raised in Dayton, Ohio.
Oh, man.
So
definitely larger than where I was.
A good sized city. I wouldn't say necessarily a big city. We had a lot of department stores. We had to drive a little bit to get where we were going, but we had options. We had shopping and things like that. But
so you weren't necessarily rural, but you
when I was staying mostly with my grandparents, particularly after my parents got divorced, they lived in a little town called Crawfordsville, Indiana. And there, Montgomery Ward was big, J.C. Penney, Sears and Roebuck, that kind of thing. It was a much smaller town, so I kind of had that small town experience as well. And for us, if you wanted to go shop at a big department store, you had to go to a mall, which was not close, or you had to go into downtown Dayton. So...
And then you, Susie, in Western Kentucky, I mean, you were rural.
Yeah. We had to go drive to Indiana to get to a mall.
Wow.
Or I can even remember going on a Sunday afternoon after church, going out to lunch there, driving like probably 60 miles. You'd go to lunch and then go to a very large grocery store to do
Your shopping, for
but
the week
but
or
it
whatever.
was not necessarily. It was kind of a treat. Like let's go to this grocery store and just be in awe of all the things offered
Look at that
at
variety.
a grocery
Oh,
store.
wow.
And I can remember as a kid just thinking, "Oh my gosh, this is just amazing what you see."
Now, you had a larger family. You were one of 4 and you were one of 3. Did either one of you celebrate with family, like extended family?
Yes.
Yeah, we
Oh, you
did.
did? Okay.
It was my dad. There was 9 children in his family, and he was one of the youngest. A lot of his family was spread out. Not all of them lived right there, but I had cousins, most of them much older than I was. I remember a couple of cousins close to my age, but we didn't do a big like gift exchange or anything, but I do remember seeing them. That was fun. You know, you knew that you got to see them on certain holidays. And then on my mom's side, I had a couple of cousins that were my age, but there was really just 2. So there wasn't a lot of cousins and extended family that you got together with.
Now, did you guys have traditions?
Well,
Specific. I mean, I know I do we got the Spanish thing going on.
okay, so my mother, she was the youngest of 3, and my dad was the middle of 11 kids.
Jeez.
We lived in Ohio. My dad's family was down here in North Carolina, and so I only saw them maybe twice as I was growing up. My mom's family, we saw them a lot. They lived about 3 hours away from us in Indiana, Crawfordsville, and I saw all those cousins every holiday and most summers. The thing that stands out for me in terms of traditions, lot of church. And also my
Even after the divorce, your parents divorced?
Yes, still a lot of church because we would go to Indiana for a lot of things to see my mother's family, and church was a big part of that. The other thing for me that stands out is food. My mother's mom was a really good cook. It was a big deal to get to go and eat at Grandma and Grandpa's house. For me, growing up, holidays meant really good food. I had a fair number of cousins on my mother's side. In total, there were 13 cousins.
Oh, wow.
Counting myself. And so we would all just be there eating and roughhousing and carousing or whatever together at Grandma and Grandpa's house. And it was fun.
Yeah.
But gifts weren't a big part of it. That wasn't something that I recall being common.
You, Susie, did you guys celebrate like any particular
Not
traditions
anything,
that you guys had?
No, kind of like what Joy said is when we did get together, it wasn't that large of a family, but the food was always really, really good. Always the same things. And I notice even my children now, they're like, "What are you making, Mom?" And if I deviate,
It's a scandal.
oh, yeah.
You're not going to make those
Yeah, that's what
yeast rolls or
Matthew's
whatever?
like.
Yeah.
You're not making sweet potato casserole? I'm like, well, I thought I'd do this. He goes, you're not making sweet potato? I go, well, I'm making sweet potato casserole. Yes,
Yes,
I
of
will.
course. Yeah.
But yeah, I remember, like you said, like my grandparents, when we would go there, although we lived really close to them, so I saw them all the time anyway, but the holiday was great because you knew you were going to have turkey. I was going to get, we called her Meemaw. Meemaw's mashed potatoes. She always made great pecan pies because they had pecan trees there. And you had all of the certain things. You knew. That,
And you knew
yeah,
it
you
was
knew
gonna
what was
be
going to be there.
good. Yeah,
that was the only time of the year you got oyster dressing.
Oh,
She
see,
would make-
we never had that, but that whole stuff, the turkey and all the kind of,
Yeah.
oh yes, and the pecan pie and the apple pie, and
Yeah,
Grandma
they made
could
this-
make an apple pie like you would not believe. It was so good.
Yeah, they made the same thing. So that's really the only, I guess you would call that a tradition.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, as far as anything else, we went to church if it fell on Sunday. But if it wasn't, you know, a Sunday, we didn't.
This is just very eye-opening for me because the funny thing is that my takeaway from the holidays has nothing to do with food. I mean,
That's
I like
funny.
it. They're even now, I'll remember, oh yeah, my mom always makes, I like her stuffing for Thanksgiving, right?
Ken's loaded mashed potatoes don't mean anything to you because
and
they mean
now
a lot to
loaded
me.
Mashed potatoes, yes. But growing up, I feel like, in contrast to you guys, I feel like my parents always had so much food and there were so many people there. I remember my mom making lamb, which is something that I am just not fond of, right? And everyone oohing and ahhing over her lamb and having ribs and having all this fancy stuff and crab for Christmas Eve. And sorry guys, but the nuts at our house,
They were already cracked open, right?
no, but there was a pile of them in a basket, right? And there were nutcrackers around.
Yeah,
So I didn't have to stare at them. But,
I figured out a way to open it, believe me.
that sort of thing. It's funny to me, the takeaways. You remember the food, you remember all that. Now, the one thing that we do have in common is that we all like the holidays for the people that we
Oh, yes.
were with.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yes.
That really makes it, regardless of
For
how
sure,
many
that was a
presents-
very, very, very big deal.
Right.
Yeah, you get to see everybody, and you get to just catch up and show off whatever it is ridiculous
yeah.
thing you got for Christmas or whatever. Yeah.
Now, of course, I don't want to sit here and paint a picture of these angelic 3 little girls that had these really great Christmases, and we totally loved our family, which we did. And obviously, these 2 really loved their dinners, which, I'm sure they did.
I don't know. Maybe we need to lose some weight.
I know. Maybe I shouldn't love my dinner so much.
I do have to say that, remember I said that I was allowed to open one gift for Christmas Eve,
and
right?
here it is. Here comes the confession. Okay,
Yes.
let's hear it.
Well, I am Catholic.
Oh, yeah, well.
So we were allowed to open one. So knowing that ahead of time that we had to open we were only allowed the
here
one
it is.
gift. My brother and I used to go under that tree because my mom would wrap everything. And now when I'm thinking about it, I'm like, wait a minute. Did I not believe in Santa then? I'm guessing this was after believing in Santa or not, because the tree was always filled with gifts. As she bought it, she would wrap it and throw it under the tree.
Well, if she was like my mom and she would write from Santa, and if you ever questioned it, she'd be like, honey, Santa is so busy. Sometimes he makes an early delivery. I was told that as well, because I did catch that one time when I could read, when I was probably old enough to read. I'm like,
Yet
whoa,
again.
wait a minute.
You're still allowed to believe in Santa. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
That is too funny.
yeah.
I'm always going to remember. I'm going to just leave Sprite and some crackers and cheese for Santa.
Absolutely.
Maybe a glass of wine for Santa.
Hey, that doesn't
saying.
surprise me that she wouldn't have done that or wouldn't have said, oh, yeah, do that.
Well, my brother and I would spend days before Christmas Eve kind of shaking the presents under the tree, and then really trying to figure out, okay, out of that list that I gave my mom, and she picked 2 gifts out, which one could this possibly be, right? And it got to a point where we would try to lift the tape on the corner of a gift just to kind of figure out which one it was, and you're like, oh no, I know what that is. No, I'll open that tomorrow. I don't need that now. And you'd go on until you found the gift, like, yes, this is the perfect one. This is the one. I'm opening this one up. Yeah.
Did you ever accidentally kick it and tear the paper a little?
Yeah. No, I didn't kick it, but yeah, because sometimes that tape is on there kind of tight.
Did you blame it on Ron?
Of course I did.
Of course. Of course.
That's all right. We went there fully ready, just in case we ripped open a side, and we had Scotch tape with us.
Oh, yeah. Prepared. So
Yeah.
you could fix it.
Oh, yeah.
So, because you can't ever draw fire into the foxhole, you have to cover yourself. Oh, no. Mm-hmm. There was never any issue. No one was ever here. No.
Right.
That gift was perfectly pristine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, and my mom too would forget certain gifts. Like I said, she would buy it and wrap it right away. It would be in the summer, and you would find something in her closet and you would pull it out and go, what is this? Oh, and then she'd laugh. Ha, 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 ha. I forgot to put that out. You'll get it this year. Kind of like the roller skates that I asked for like 2 years prior. And then I got my derby roller skates.
Were they the right size?
They were totally the right size. Unfortunately, I got them like 2 or 3 years after I asked for them. So for posterity, yeah, they're up in my attic currently in the original box.
So, okay, wait. So I know what roller skates you're talking about. Were they white with like red and blue on it?
Yes. They're white. And now I can't remember. They must have red wheels on them, I think.
I sent some kind of Instagram video moment coming. We're going to have to think on that one. I know what you're talking about because I think we have had a pair too. Oh, yeah. Yeah. You could get probably all of $4 for them. So were there any other Spanish traditions that you remember growing up? Because I can think of one that I think we need to talk about. We talked about it last Monday at dinner.
Oh, okay. Well, look, just for those viewers out there, I'm going to be crystal.
No one's watching this. It's all about.
Oh, that's right, listeners. I'm sorry. Look, listeners. I am from Galicia, Spain, not...
Oh, deny.
This
Denial
particular...
is not just a river in Egypt anymore.
In Egipto?
Oh, when she said that, it was so funny.
No, this is not my particular tradition. Not even my family's tradition. But yes... Joy came across this Spanish tradition from what part of Spain? Catalonia.
From Catalonia.
Yeah, Catalonia is the Spanish version, right? Catalan is
language.
Is the language. Mm-hmm. So Catalonia is the eastern southern part of Spain.
If you say so, geography is not my strong point. I'm just saying.
I'm trying to definitely separate.
See, this is what's happening. This is what's happening, listeners. She's trying to say she has nothing to do with what you're about to hear.
Yes.
That's what's happening.
But she does.
Mm-hmm. Nothing.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
It's not even in my language.
A little clay figurine for the nativity. It's a person who is squatting and making a poo. And apparently that's a tradition in Catalonia. And there's a whole store where you can buy
people so that you can put it in your nativity set.
Oh, disgusting.
Seriously.
Escucha. Nunca estuve.
You know that she doesn't speak Spanish.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Up to that point, she was getting it.
Yeah, I understood what she was saying.
I was never in Catalonia, okay? But I was in Castilla, and I was in Galicia, and
No pooping figures there.
And I have never seen such a disgusting thing.
They also sing a song.
Oh, here we
but
go.
Unfortunately, I don't know the song.
We in Rio Bau.
They don't poop, they pee.
We had 2 doors.
Do you know what she's talking about here? The 2 doors?
Big doors.
You know the place in Rio Bau, don't you?
The nativity. With all the trees and the mountains and the little houses.
I think what she's talking about is the backyard, right?
And all those things.
And you've been in that house in Rio Bau. You stayed there, didn't you?
Oh, yeah. I was there also.
It's a big deal, yeah.
Big tradition. The nativity set with the
so they made it. So it was literally outside. They would
Melchor,
open up the
Gaspar,
doors,
and
in their backyard,
they come.
they would go ahead and make the nativity set. They would outside,
and bring in things
for the baby
baby
Jesus and whatnot. Because next door, I mean, this was all
gold, frankincense, and myrrh.
This guy pooping.
It was all farms.
No, I have never.
It could have been a woman.
Where did they put him? In the nativity? Yeah.
Oh, look. He's got the outfit and the sandals and everything.
And they have the outfit of the Catalan.
Thank you, Google.
I know that looks Japanese. Looks like a sumo wrestler.
All right, let me take a look. Let me see.
Listen,
no.
I didn't make this up.
No, yeah.
Here's another pooper.
Oh, and a log too.
Next to a sheep.
Yeah.
Maybe
I don't know. I cannot say much about that. I never heard of it. I never saw it. And to me, all is Latino, really poor
But wait,
taste.
where in the nativity did they
Well,
put him?
it looks like here
Is
it's
he
not
next to-
part of the nativity set.
So
It's
here's
not
where it
part of
starts with. Is it
but-
part of the nativity set?
So is the pooping man part of it?
Yes.
Caganer that flips. Wait. Yeah, so it's just a little figurine of someone
Oh,
squatting
Squatting with his
squatting
pants
with
down.
his pants down.
what I was
And
asking
pooping.
is that little guy pooping. They put him in the nativity set.
I guess so.
Oye, ahora te enteraste. Pues
No, I thought it was a figure, the nativities, but not put him in right.
It's one of the three wise men. They put
Oh, blasphemy.
Yeah, maybe he went coming from a long distance and
I
he
really
got
have to go.
moved, that's it.
He had too many
We gotta go,
pigs.
we gotta go.
No, there were no toilets in that time.
Yeah.
That's what happened.
That's me
Or
trying to
toilet paper.
input reason.
Or toilet
Okay,
paper.
let's move
Yeah,
on.
They had to use the camel's tail.
No, they were using cabbage. Cabbage.
Leaves.
It pushed me onto
Yeah.
here now.
Sand.
So this is me and my brother now
And fig
trying to
leaves.
Google as quickly as
Oh,
we
you're
possibly can every single last bit of information on this whole mess.
It's like the fig leaves are
She's
like
talking about using him as toilet paper.
rough.
Yeah.
Well, you gotta whatever you have.
Yeah.
You
If
know?
they had dogs, as pets, they're only brown.
I don't even know. I can't even comment.
And the dogs don't know any better.
Yeah.
Actually, you could teach.
Tio de nada, right? Pooping log. The Catalan holiday tradition now available
Oh, that's
in the
the
US.
horse.
That's me trying to be a little scholarly about the whole
log.
thing. It's the pooping log.
It's like a sheep. A sheep.
He's trying to say sheep.
The log with a face on it.
Yeah.
Scroll a little bit soon.
So the guy,
In the log,
telling you,
where,
you can't buy entertainment
I know
like
what
this.
a
You really
real
can't.
Log is made. Okay.
She's trying to find reason right
Right.
now. Why would someone do this?
so the guy doesn't get put into the nativity scene. He gets put next to the pooping log.
No, I don't think that's right. No.
That's what it sounds like. They
No,
even
the
call it-
log is separate from
they
the
even call
pooping
it a
guy.
pooping log.
You guys
The
realize
log is
we're all
separate
talking about
from
pooping
the log.
logs, right?
The pooping guy is a
Caganer.
Cagner, Caganer.
Yeah.
Now we have a new person who's weighing in on it.
Hey.
Cagando.
Don't miss out.
I don't know how you say that. Okay, how do you pronounce it again?
Caganer.
Caganer is a regular feature of nativity scenes here in Catalonia, where he is believed to have started to appear around the early 18th century. Tend to represent pastoral scenes reminiscent of the local countryside, large country houses and depictions of rural life. It is among these everyday scenes that the Caganer tends to appear, crouched behind a building or a tree in the corner of the nativity. Oh my gosh, this guy is from Kentucky.
No, you know what I'm thinking?
I'm thinking, or Ohio. It is, us
think I'm related to
Kentuckians
that guy.
have missed. We have missed the point. I mean, we have really missed something in our nativity scene.
For real, I think I'm related to that guy.
I
can
can't
think of
believe
The goat man.
the goat man. Yes.
Oh my gosh. All I'm thinking of is he is the old-fashioned elf on a shelf.
Oh,
Yes.
That he appears.
he's the original elf on the shelf, except he's
Exactly.
pooping on the shelf.
Well, it's pastoral.
And,
Oh my
and if
God.
you
Everybody
continue
poops.
to read, is they talk about theories of why he's
Now,
there.
wait, can I just say, this is
Absolutely.
why it's important to have an uninterested third party.
Yes.
I'm just saying it is.
because I have
Well,
a
she
different
seems-
take and look.
That's
on it.
exactly
She
right.
does seem very interested right
Well,
now.
I am now because I'm like, what the heck? We're talking
What's going on
about
here?
a
And-
man pooping in the nativity scene and a pooping log, and I'm trying to get
with
like,
a history that I can relate to, and also educated. So we can all kind of loop it back in and present to the listener a comprehensive.
Oh my goodness.
What?
We're talking about a man pooping near the nativity set.
Go
Well,
ahead,
I
spoil
don't-
it for everyone,
Okay,
Juliet.
So what were you saying,
Yeah.
Susie?
I'm just
What
saying
did
is
your
they
research-
had different theories according to this culturetrip.com.
A culture trip.
Yeah, it's a trip.
It
But they talk about why is he pooping, and there's several different theories.
Well, he's pooping because everybody poops.
Well, as your dad said, maybe he had a long trip and
there
he
you
Could
go.
be.
just needed to go.
Because they're going from village to village, and clearly
But
you gotta
then
have someplace
someone
to go.
says that one theory goes that tell me again how to say it.
Caganer.
Caganer.
Caganer simply represents fertility, and that the fertilization of the earth, which yields food
I wish
for
you could
us
see
to
Juliet's
eat.
face.
On this account, it is a symbol of good luck and the wish for a prosperous new year and good health. Another explanation for why the figure appears in local nativity scenes is that he is said to represent mischief and evil. But wait a minute. I like to go back to the good food and the fertilization, because then
You
it
gotta
brings,
wait.
hey,
Wait,
it
no, you
is
gotta
full
be-
circle
yeah.
from
You
Spain
gotta
to
stay on the-
Kentucky to Ohio. Full circle. Food. Fertilization.
How does
Abundance.
pooping in the field have anything to do with fertilization?
What do you
Of
mean?
the ground. Come on, Julie.
Oh my God! So he eats and then it's
And
like
then
full
fertilizes.
circle. Is that what we're talking about?
Yes. He's fertilizing the soil.
Oh,
And
There's something very midsummer about this whole thing.
midsummer. Yeah, yeah. I'd like to throw myself over a cliff. That's the
Oh, come on.
that's the tie-in to this
so
one.
you all told me about the pooping man, but I was a little confused because there was also a pooping log.
Yeah.
With
I
a
don't
song.
know. I don't necessarily know
I
how
think
those
they're two separate things. I don't think they are the same thing.
Right.
I think one is kind of like a Christmas pinata.
Right.
And the other one is part of the nativity, which your mother and Ron, they're both like, no, that can't be part of the nativity. Well, here, let's play the rest of it. Hang on.
Well, you know that my dad will comment on this, saying that he learned about this from Rick Steves.
I know. No, don't you mean like Rick Stevenson?
No, I don't. It's Rick Steve.
Well, then not according to your dad, it's not.
Oh,
It's a log, and it's hollow, and they treat the log very well
and give it
for like the month
probiotics,
of-
right?
And then at the very end, at Christmas time,
Whack
they
the
whack
log,
the
like
log,
whack-a-mole.
and the sweets and the candy and stuff comes out of the back of the log.
Oh, I would not call that sweets and candy.
Apparently, the log has a name.
Really?
Really?
The log has a name. I guess it's Kaga, Cagatio, Tio.
Uncle Poopy?
Wait, CAGO.
No.
A Caga,
Kaga.
Kaga, Tio,
Uncle Poopy.
Tio.
Oh, Uncle Pooper.
That's the what
Uncle
I keep
Poop.
reading is that's what they call the log. Old Cagatio is one of the most highly anticipated holiday guests in homes around Christmas.
What are you talking about? The log?
Yeah.
The log has a name.
Uncle Poopy is the big holiday guest in your home?
Yep. Apparently, Cagatillo.
Cagatio, and it says that they feed him.
What?
They keep talking about feeding him, and then on Christmas is when they hit him with the stick.
You see, this is why it's important to have a third
Here
party.
it says children are told to feed Cagatio dry bread, orange peel, or dried beans in the days
no walnuts?
just before Christmas. Children are told to take extra care of Cagatio if they want him to bear gifts.
Okay,
on
so now I
Christmas
did hear
Eve.
that. Yes. So you really have to take care of the log. You have to be good to it.
How do they
Yeah.
feed it? It's a log.
Well,
Maybe they just put a plate in front of him or something?
I don't know. It says this is where it becomes fascinating.
Could you feed it like some Sprite and some crackers and cheese?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, maybe he likes Sprite, club crackers, cheddar cheese. I don't know.
I would.
Well, I do. I like Sprite, club crackers, and cottage. Wait, no.
It gets better. Says
Cheddar cheese.
Just before hitting the Cogatillo, children are instructed to go out of the room and pray that the uncle will provide them with lots of gifts. This is when parents usually seize the opportunity to hide the gifts beneath the Cogatillo's cloak, when the kids are not looking. When the kids return, the gifts are unveiled one by one until there are no more, at which point it's not uncommon for the Cogatillo to produce an onion or cured herring.
Ooh.
Oh my God. How big is this log?
Ooh. But, oh, that's terrible.
Oh, and
You don't want to get an onion or hair. If like,
is that Cataluña's version of coal?
I guess so, because
Here,
it just
here's
says
an onion.
Yeah.
Here, yeah,
Says the
go-
log symbolizes gifts of warmth and light that are given by the earth in the form of wood. As the practice became more widespread, commercial versions of the log appeared with a painted face and a red blanket.
now, okay, so that
So I'm
does track
guessing the
because
red blanket is
we've
where
seen
they,
it with a blanket, right? We've seen every depiction we've seen of it has a
Yeah.
blanket.
Yeah, and that's where they hide their gifts?
Yeah, it says Cogatillo plays a similar role to that of Santa Claus in the USA.
Good Lord, I think I like our version better.
Yeah, I don't know about a pooping log as a.
And then beating him with sticks.
I know, right? Oh, that's terrible.
Come here, Santa.
You didn't give me Gilligan's Floating Island, so I'm gonna whack the crap out of you.
I told you I wanted it in pink.
I wanted those roller skates 2 years ago. You jerk.
You deserve a beating.
Oh yeah.
Now give me some candy.
Yeah. You're gonna get whacked.
Oh,
I
my
guess
goodness.
I don't get the song where they're talking about whacking him and the whole pooping. That's what I don't really.
The song goes. It
see.
almost sounds like a kid's nursery rhyme, but if you knew what they were actually saying, it's like a Hansel and Gretel kind of thing. You know, like, yeah, come here, my pretties, I'm going to eat you.
Yeah, I just read some of the words on here. It is pretty.
It's pretty
like,
gross.
odd. Yeah.
Yeah. Europe and their nursery rhymes and stuff that they, I don't know, they like scare their kids into, I don't know,
Well-
doing the right thing.
Going to
Scared
bed,
straight.
close your eyes.
I know.
Don't come
get
out of your
bed.
room.
Don't
Don't
get
come
out.
out of your room. The Cogatillo is under your bed.
Well, when you think about it, it's like maybe the log, when they talk about the sweets and the candy, are similar to stockings in the U.S. And then what I just read about the parents saying, pray that,
Then
You
he
know,
brings you something
yeah,
good.
they bring you something good, and then they hide the gifts. So that's like the Santa version. So when the kids come in, they do have gifts, but then they get what's in the log, which are sweets and treats, which is what we would get in stockings.
Yeah, basically.
It's almost like, you know what? I wouldn't say like a Santa. I would say this whole thing is more like a Grinchy Santa. The Grinch comes into your house and he's putting, I don't know what, in your stockings. And then you jump out from behind the sofa and beat him with you know, sandals and your sticks.
Sandals and sticks.
And he crawls out on all fours.
He's got to do a combat crawl.
Right. Yeah, Ron, go ahead.
Trying to find the song about the pooping man at Christmas.
Actually, it's not the pooping man, it's the log. So this song goes with the
Right,
log
exactly,
that the kids are beating with sticks.
But they call the
know
log
the
Cogatillo.
tradition.
Yes.
Right.
It's called,
It's called Catalan Caganer Christmas. So there you go. But we don't speak Catalan. That's me going, I'm not going to understand it. We don't speak Catalan. Apparently, it's universal language.
Development's better with poo-poo.
Yeah.
And then you beat the log.
Oh my.
It says,
What in the world,
it says pooping log.
Oh my God.
It says poop.
This
poop
is
a
your-
log.
This is your people. I'm trying to blame my mother for this.
Look, the
Wait, say
you like.
Wait, say again. Say again, Ron.
It says poop log, poop duron, made from almonds or pine nuts. Don't poop sardines. They are too salty. Poop duron. They are better. Poop log. Poop duron. If you don't poop, I will hit you with a stick.
Because they're singing to the
why-
log.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
To the log.
Yeah, and they want the
So
log.
they hit him.
Yeah.
They want the log to poop duron.
Yeah.
A lot of anger management going on in Spain right now.
Sardines. 'Cause
So the log is like what Mexicans use a piñata for.
Yeah, something
And
like
this
that.
is a
yeah.
song saying to the log, poop the candy, not something salty
And
and gross.
it
Oh my God, this is
naturally,
weird.
it
This
doesn't
is
do it by
ridiculous.
itself.
It is. More
Then
than
you got to
great.
hit it,
Right.
and when you hit it, it moves, and then the candy.
And that's my dad trying to be
It's like a
practical.
dog treat.
Yes, every time you hit the
a
log,
dog.
it moves
Yeah,
and
move
something comes out the other end.
It's all right. It's a tradition.
Oh,
In the
what?
end, you know,
yeah, it's
Whatever.
we're all fruit.
Yeah.
Yeah, first time that I see this on here.
Well, it's gonna make me think less of Tufron, that's for sure.
All right. In the end, we're all fruit. That's true.
Well, I can honestly say there's no tradition that I can think of that even comes close to resembling that. I don't know what they do in Kentucky. Or Ohio.
Yeah, we're pretty
But-
normal, so we don't do much of that kind of thing here. But all I can say is that was so satisfying. So much fun to listen to. Yeah, we're all normal. You're the weirdo.
I just like how your parents, like, there's actually a discussion.
I can't believe it. Out of something like that, pooping log and some squatting guy near your nativity set, and my dad's kind of saying, "Oh yeah, well, you know." And I felt like he was gonna, as soon as he said Rick Steves, oh yeah, I think I saw that on TV. I thought, oh boy, here we go. Don't tell me that he's gonna know the history of this whole thing, because I cannot believe it.
But I would believe your dad would actually know it because he's like an open-minded kind of guy. I can see him being like, oh yeah, those are all those pooping figurines that you find in Catalonia or whatever.
And then there's my mother next to him going, yeah, of course. You know, it's Catalunya. That's what they do over there. As if, yeah, you know, we all know them for their pooping figures. The rest of us look down at them, but that's okay. And then my dad ends it with, well, it's a tradition.
That's what I find so funny, is that it's just that there is a whole conversation
Trying to
throughout your
justify
dinner about the whole thing.
I know.
Completely.
Well, I've not been to a family dinner with your
we
mother.
need to change
I've
that.
I've
We
been
need to- we
invited
need to make that
several
happen.
times, but have
Yes.
not. But I have sat at your house with you and Ron and some other family members, and I remember the whole discussion about culottes. Do you remember when?
Culottes. No.
At
Your
first, I
dad-
wasn't quite sure where you were going with that. But yeah,
are
cool
you talking
lots the
about?
pants.
Yeah, and about the discussion
Culottes
about
the dog.
No,
I mean,
no,
who's,
no.
what are you talking about?
I just, you're right. I totally find it funny that everything, I mean,
that's what I'm saying.
everything-
It doesn't matter what.
No, everything is up for discussion.
Oh, yeah.
And don't worry. Someone is going to Google it. Someone's going to research it. Someone is going to get back to you on the specifics. Kind of like what just happened here about this.
Which I love it. I mean,
know?
I think it's great, but it is funny that you look back and
Hey,
think,
you know, Columbus, yes, he's from Spain. No, he's not.
No.
Yeah, he
No.
is. No, okay, Google it. But I do find it funny that we will pretty much research and hash out and argue about pretty much any single item, idea.
That's true.
Anything is up for debate. Anything. And you better be darn well sure to support it.
Oh, yeah.
You better
And
have your
to-
supporting facts.
You have to be bought in 100% to support your premise. Yeah,
That's
for
right.
Sure.
And you better be ready to debate. Mm-hmm. It's like the debate team. Oh, yeah. You better hope that you were good there. Well, I can't say that I'm 100% proud of that conversation.
You know what you're getting for Christmas, listeners. Yes.
El caganer.
Wasn't that a super fun episode? We all had such a good time recording it. Now, is it me, or is there a connection between hanging your stockings on the chimney and putting your shoes outside your door? Maybe our one listener can let us know via carrier pigeon or smoke signal, since I haven't set up our email accounts just yet. That's it for this holiday special episode of Everyday Macaroni. And remember, kids, the truth is out there, but Santa is not. Happy holidays! I hope you enjoyed listening and sharing a laugh or two with us. Stay tuned for more Everyday Macaroni adventures on future podcast episodes. And if you want to see some pictures of us, you can follow me on Instagram by searching @JoyAlfredBrand, #EverydayMacaroni, #TheDollarLllama, or on my Facebook page, New Cash View. Again, thanks for listening, and join us for the next episode of Everyday